2021, May 5th. Basically, we've lost all our furniture at this time to either flooding or cockroaches because there was such a good water source. So today we've got the camera set up so that we've got the conversation as a record with the plumbers. The plumbers have been here. We have subsequent videos of them admitting that they don't see any cockroaches. One of them says they see a cockroach, but what he says is always says, "I seen it a couple minutes ago," and all of them were told, which you'll find out on the videos when they came in, that if they spot a roach, they're supposed to draw immediate attention to it so that I can film it. So we don't really know if there was really a roach or not. Basically, that's a claim from a guy that had already spent approximately anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes in my apartment. So, do we know if that's true or not? We don't. We don't know that that's factual. We know that when he took the inferior construction down, what he found was that they'd used duct tape as opposed to drywall tape, and then they skim coated over top of that. And I was wondering why they never came back to sand that out. It's been 7 months since that happened, but I don't know why they haven't come to sand that and clean it up and paint it. But then I realized if they sand that, duct tape doesn't sand very well. And when they open it up, you'll find that I also have a video that shows that basically water is free pouring behind the wall. What do I mean by free pouring? Well, I don't mean like a tap, like like that. It's more like drip, 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 drip. And that's been going on for months. And floods have been going on since 2021. The original flood was as a result of the stack that they chose to marry the plumbing to in these two units down here, which were a converted gym and sauna, were too small. So what would happen when we got everybody flushing in a line, the water went down to the city and then back up out through my toilet, resulting in 12 to 1,300 U.S. gallons of level 4 sewage water. So, sorry, I'm just checking to make sure the recording on. This stuff that you see here, these are our water bottles. On top of the, sorry, there they are. These are our water bottles that we saved our water in. This is the stuff that came off the top of the refrigerator. There's powdered potatoes there and taco skins and yeah, ice cream cones and yeah. So that's the stuff that came off the top of the fridge. I have no room to put anything. I have no cupboards left. I had storage and stuff like that before the 3 big floods. The last flood resulting as being held up in a hotel room for a month over Christmas in December of I don't remember what year. However, I have the receipts. Basically, we stayed at the hotel for a month, and 2 weeks was paid by the insurance company. But then the other 2 weeks came out of my furniture money, and then when we got back to the rental unit here, the insurance company wasn't able to get us our furniture back for I don't know. It could be 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not really sure, but in the interim, we were sleeping on floors, on sleeping bags, and with no dishes or anything. It was pretty horrible. We had the stuff that we purchased in the hotel room, i.e., um, a small electric frying pan as well as a toaster oven. Um, Basically, we cooked uh, with those things because we didn't have pans, right? So, and we knew that we had to get furniture at the end. After expenses and everything like that, I had the ability to buy the kids two nice beds, but I traded all that in for my furniture. And so since then, because I haven't been able to recover, um, meaning I'm disabled, I had an injury where I hurt my back and my ribs, and both my biceps are gone, four flexor tendons in my right hand, three of which are bogged down in tissue. So I have like good range in my pinky finger. I've got 20% in my ring finger. I have about 60% in my middle finger, and I've got a very strong lead index through excessive working because I'm a window cleaner by trade. Um, However, this whole case merges with a case of an accommodation for disability. Before I signed the lease here on May 1 of 2021, I asked the landlord for permission to park our bikes. Actually, the superintendent representation for Ranee management. I asked them uh, to allow me to charge my electric bikes at my window. I had to leave the house because the owner was taking possession again, that I was renting. And so it took me 6 months to find a building where I could get a ground floor unit where I could get charging, and I could get it in Big Village. Um, so, anyways, we asked the superintendent whether or not we could get the disability accommodation. We told him what it was for. He said that he would have to confer with Ranee management. So before we signed the lease, we came back and we confirmed that it was okay for us on the ground floor. Now, at that time, they didn't say, okay, well, if you have an electrician come in and you set up a proper post, and they didn't say any of that. They said that I could plug in at my window. So I have pictures of showing a timeline of the bikes on Google Maps being present. I also have pictures from 2007 all the way to 2024 showing that they did every year except for 2022 and 2023. That was after I told the manager that I had shots. He obviously applied to have the bike taken out through Google Maps, um, or or it just vanished. Anyways, one of the problems with the Vanishing Act is that the actual when they took the bike out, the actual plug still shows the plug hanging out of the window, but yet the bottom of the plug isn't there anymore when you zoom in. So you realize that it's been taken out because so is part of the plug. And that's a pretty tricky situation. I'm not sure why that happened. But, anyways, basically, um, this was a problem that had happened before I came here because it was a mechanical problem. The fact is that Ranee Management replaced the stack. Both the leaseholder and myself witnessed the fact that the pipes were out on the lawn out in front of the building to replace the stack. But they let me go through 7 floods before they did that. And during that time, and I have a YouTube video to show this, they offered me an inferior unit on the 3rd floor. And what I mean by inferior is in my unit here that I pay $2,000 a month for. It's a 2 bedroom. I have beautiful floor to ceiling cupboards in the bathroom with a deep tub. It's a large bathroom. It's it has marble countertops and beautiful gray sand tile floors and beautiful brand new melamine fronts on everything, and beautiful new hardwood floors throughout my building, through my apartment. Uh, my own electrical service that I pay for myself, which I paid for the bikes, um, as well as beautiful big new window frames that had all been replaced on the ground floor, as well as brand new Samsung fridge, brand new Samsung stove, brand new dishwasher. The unit that I have videotaped that they offered me on the 3rd floor has an inch of, well, no, maybe a third of an inch of pigeon dung on the balcony everywhere. You will see that in the video that there's pigeon dung on my stove rack that was leaning up against the wall, as well as old appliances, old parquet flooring, a tiny bathroom, child-sized tub, an active cockroach that I spot, old slatted windows in the bedrooms, as well as old fixtures and cupboards as well in the house. Generally, the unit is the same size, for the exception of the bathroom, which is much smaller, where the kitchen is larger because of the style of the kitchen. I have something that compares to a small gully size kitchen without the servery window. Anyways, the bottom line is that the two units are totally different, and they wanted me to pay the same money. Um, and that was before they did the repair, and I said, no way, I'm not letting them do this to anybody else. So I dug my heels in and I stayed and I made them fix it. But I lost all my furniture. And after that, they targeted me. Um, they started harassing me about the bikes that they gave me accommodation to. Um, they said that, they really started coming after me after they put the new balcony fronts on the building. But I don't have anything to do with balcony fronts, and they didn't offer me a proper accommodation. So basically, it got down to the point where somebody called the fire department. They came and took an examination. Now, I'm not actually on the lease with Ranee Management. My mother is, and I didn't agree to any change of accommodation. It was the accommodation that was offered at the time of the signing of the lease with the leaseholder. The leaseholder supports that. Basically, they said that if we didn't move the bikes, that they would dispose of them. And that email came after they disposed. What they told me they disposed of the bikes. Because I went outside, the bikes were gone. And the email came at something like 12:43 in the afternoon, or 1:30 in the had somebody come to my door the week before that who was dressed in a security guard uniform, provided no identification, was wearing some type of body cam, didn't get permission to record, however, recorded a conversation that we had concerning the bikes, where I said quite clearly that before we signed the lease, that we had an agreement for a disability accommodation for the bikes. He said, well, I don't want any trouble, he says, when we go to dispose of them, trying to infer that there would be some type of violence or something like that, which is ridiculous. That's not the way I deal with things. So sometimes I'm very straightforward, but definitely not violent. I believe that you can talk through things. So, anyways, basically, they came on December 2nd. They took the motorcycles, they put them wherever. They told us that they disposed of them. They admitted to doing it. I have that as an email in writing that I can produce as a receipt. They said in the body of their letter that just because management looked the other way for years doesn't mean you have permanent rights to do that. And of course, that's not true either, because number one, they agreed to it, and number two, she admits openly that they looked the other way for this accommodation for years. So basically, they've admitted they've stolen the bikes. They admitted that they gave me the accommodation. The leaseholder confers and says that she was present when I obtained permission for the bikes, and she heard it herself. Basically, they bring the bikes back on the 12th of December, and they put them behind the building where crack addicts are known to frequent. These bikes are emo monsters. They're not little toys. They're not bicycles. They're big electric motorcycles, and they're expensive to fix and they're expensive to maintain. The place where they put them, there's no access to electricity, so this isn't an accommodation for my disability. So I don't take receipts of the bikes, and I sent them that in writing, and I have the receipts for that as well. They said, well, we've dropped them off now, and they're your responsibility. But apparently, when you steal something, you're not allowed to just do that, put it back, and then put it back in a spot that doesn't provide accommodation for the disabled person that you said that you were going to do that. Human rights has laws against things like that, and so do Metropolitan Toronto Police. However, I guess because this person is a lord, that they're not accountable in the same way as everybody else is. However, setting that aside, basically, as a result of that, my disability, both me and my son who sold 52 new jobs between September 2nd, 2025, and November 15th, 2025, were forced on foot. My son walks with a gait in his foot. I have arthritis in my right foot, in my knee, in my hip. In my right hand, I have 4 flexor tendons that have problems. I have 2 blown biceps. I have multiple ruptured discs in my back and 3 broken ribs that healed wrong and give me quite a bit of distress. This lack of accommodation now has led to injury, ongoing increased chronic pain, secondary problems trying to offset the weight of pulling an 80-pound cart behind me on a daily basis in order to get to jobs now on the Toronto Transit system, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Costing us more money, taking us obviously so much more time. There's one appointment that we must keep, which is one of our large restaurants at A&W at Peyton Danforth Avenue, where it's necessary for me to attend every second week at 2:30 in the morning, because that's when nobody's there to do the windows on 2 sides. It's a rather large job. it's $35, and now it costs me bus fare. Obviously, connection points at nighttime aren't the most convenient. This is after a day of walking with an 80-pound cart behind me. I don't know if people, I believe that it's important to understand that when you have no biceps, um, and you drag something like that, the weight is offset on your joints, and because there's no elasticity providing resistance from the muscle, there's a great deal of pain that is connected to that. Also, having to drag the cart because I have to trade hands off on the side with my bad ribs. This has led to increased muscle spasms and excessive pain in my ribs to the point where sometimes for 10 and 12 minutes I have to get myself into this position here and reach back as far as I can towards my right heel with my left hand, extending my rib cage to stop the excessive cramping as a result of having to drag the cart. The cart that I'm talking about, and I'm going to have my son show it to you now. Just 1 minute, I'll get him. I'll be back in a second. This is what I'll do. I'm going to bring the cart into the main area here so you can see what we're talking about here. This cart, there's a pole in it right now. I'm going to try and give you a snapshot of what this actually is that I have to carry on a day-to-day basis now that I can't put it on the back of the bike because that is how I made our business work. Um, Here we go. Here, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, and that there is a 20-liter pail that's inside that sleeve. Okay, so now that gives you an idea of what I'm dragging all day long. That pail is 4/5 full. Okay, so that would be about 18 liters of water. And I drag that on and off buses, on and off subways, sometimes streetcars, and something that we had well organized and worked well for the both of us is that accommodation has been taken away. Now, previous to the bikes being gone, not only have I had a impact financially because we can't get around to the places on time now, and before November 15th, I can provide several receipts from the board from people who say that we had a timely service, and now that's changed. We're late by 3 and 4 days on 2-week appointments all over the place. And I was smart when we sold things. We sold things on a week and a bi-weekly rotation. Uh, Weekly rotation due to injury, sustained injury, ongoing injury, imposed injury by reduced accommodation has led to financial suffering, physical suffering, and now it's as opposed to being able to shop the lost leaders off 5 different grocery stores, I'm stuck using the grocery store in the neighborhood, only being able to carry limited amounts of groceries home. Having to do that every single day because I can't go in and get my big order because I don't have the bike cab every time I buy the 18-kilo bag of dog food to go with the rest of my groceries, costing me $7 to get home from the grocery store. You can see how I've been diminished in many different areas of my life. Um, since I've come to live with Ranee Property Management, I've lost all of my furniture. The month that I was in the hotel room, they made me pay my rent for. Um, I've lived with like ongoing floods, and they've given and taken away my bike accommodation. I've been reduced and diminished financially, physically, mentally. I don't know if you know what it's like to pull cockroaches off your body at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're sleeping. It's not nice. And the pain that I get in my rib cage now from dragging the cart and my joints. And I won't let my son do that because I already paid for that. In the first 8 years of my business, I actually I did a total of walking. I walked 13 years. We worked it out that I walked out to BC and back twice in my job on foot with a cart behind me. And I had graduated to a band, and that's another story. But anyways, the bottom line is when I agreed to teach my son a trade because because of COVID and everything else, he wasn't performing at school, and he liked the trade of window cleaning. And I told him that when he came to work with me, that he had to sell a minimum of a new job every couple of days, and if he didn't, go back to school. If I'd have problems getting him to go to work, um, 3 days in a row, go back to school. Um, if he didn't do his job and learn his trade, he would go back to school. So there were many caveats to the agreement that we had for him coming home and actually learning his trade. Now he's learned how to sell his jobs, run his jobs, bill his jobs, keep his receipts for income tax, do everything that he needs to do to maintain his equipment for his own small window cleaning business. This job can make you $100,000 a year, no problem. If you pay attention and you do it right, you're polite, you're hardworking, you give a fair price, and you do a good job, and you're always on time. Those are the important key factors. We have a -40 guarantee. We clean marble, metal, granite, stainless steel, stucco, strip sidewalks, remove bubblegum, deodorize, disinfect entrances, clean frame systems, rubberize, as well as cloth onyx, plexiglass signage, organic waste containment systems, mirrors for the and glass for the inside and outside of your shop. We do surface analysis and identification leading to either maintenance contract or supply contract. And these are the different facets of the trade that my son is learning. This spring will be about power washing projects, where I'll teach my son how to clean, sanitize, and beautify the exterior of commercial properties that we deal with certain maintenance sale packages that we offer them at different times of the year. You can see that this is not fly by night, that this is an organized pursuit. We have two Tim Hortons large shops, we have an A&W large shops, and lots of mom and pop shops, and we have wonderful customers. We also have our charity jobs. We have a charity job right now. We're carrying a new retailer who's struggling. And so we told the new retailer that we were going to pick up their window cleaning bill and see them to the end, up to a year long. We do this to encourage loyalty in business. We're a together outfit, and we're very pro-social when it comes to believing that our trade is not only about taking, but giving back. We've been pushed into a situation without these accommodations where it's becoming extremely difficult, especially in the winter, to maintain what my son has worked hard to build. I won't let him walk with the cart. I already paid that price. Um, I had it set up where we had two emo monsters, which are electric motorcycles that were outfitted with equipment and buckets and everything we needed, and a small trailer that we would purchase this spring to have a 3200 psi sionizer power washer from Canadian Tire, because I know the guy that services them, Bill at Fix It Again Sam, and he's been my partner and friend in business for 32 years, so he'll maintain Mike's machine. It'll be easy to carry behind the actual bike. He'll be able to take that with his 120 feet of hose with the quick connects and his high pressure one with his different tips for different applications with him when he goes to go power washing. This is a perfect little mobile outfit designed to give my daughter and my son a job. My daughter went to work and did her first professional job yesterday. Did a great job. She's sitting at the table with me right now. She's been impacted as well. Uh, Everybody's been impacted with what Renee Management has done to us. Now we're in the middle of the human rights suit, and the whole time we're slugging it out, I will be making application to the board for relief based on the ongoing physical harm as a result of reduced accommodation by Renee.